We somehow conquered Persona 5 Royal using only a Bicorn, but I think it's time to switch series. Welcome to RPG Challenge Runs, and today we find out if we can beat Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age without using any magic or buying anything. That's right, no buying maps or bizarre items, no paying to hire chocobos, and no access to any shops, severely limiting our access to weapons, armour, techniques, gambits, consumables, the list goes on. And to crank up the difficulty even further, we're doing this as a solo run with Vaan. No other party members or guests are allowed ever. Using Esper summons in combat is also banned. Finally, no glitches, hacks or mods. Initial thoughts? I think the early and mid game will be doable with enough grinding, but I don't think the late game will be possible after we hit the level cap. Welcome to Star Wars, I mean Ivalice. Yeah, those storylines are totally different. After a quick tutorial, we step into the shoes of our protagonist Vaan, a pickpocketing street rat who's down here fighting rats. Yeah, get back here, you git! Oh, never mind, we'll just kill this one instead. Oh, he's back! After escaping some guards, it's time to explore Rabanasta. Look at all these beautiful shops we won't ever be able to use. We accept the rogue tomato hunt and choose our first of two jobs. Online advice for solo Vaan runs seemed to vary, but Ulan kept coming up, so we'll go with that. It's a tanky job that specialises in spears, heavy armour and high HP. With that, the adventure begins. Don't worry, we won't be playing much of the game on this default speed, or else the run would take forever. Thankfully, this remastered version comes with a ×4 speed option that can be toggled on and off with a quick tap of a button. Nice! We spend a fair bit of time farming this one specific treasure chest for Phoenix Downs, and you'll see why later. Gil can be found everywhere in this game, so it's easy to feel disappointed when you're picking it all up knowing it's going to be completely pointless in this run. I love the chests that give you one Gil.
Are you serious?
Like, I know it's semi-random, but it always feels like the game is just completely trolling you. We clear out the area until some of the enemies stop respawning, making us strong enough to easily 1v1 the rogue tomato and complete our first hunt. We join Clan Centurio, chat to old Dallin, refuse to purchase a map, and get bullied into allowing Penelo to join us.
So then you wouldn't mind if I, say, tagged along, would you?
Huh?
Since we can't remove party members yet, we instead take her out ourselves before engaging in any combat. This is also a trick we're going to repeat every time we're forced to take in a guest party member. Enemies are much more challenging now, but we can still breeze through with our default equipment. We're soon finished with powering up the Shadestone, and Penelo goes on her merry way. Dallin reminds us what this challenge run is all about.
But don't go counting your kill just yet, my boy.
And we continue the grind. One treasure chest contains the magic spell Blind, which obviously we cannot use in this run, but it's a nice reminder to be on the lookout for technics, which can also be found in chests. Some techniques will be vital for this run. It's not all fun and games though. Here's our first death, Vaan being stomped on the head. Time to head on through the sewers into the palace. We grab a new weapon on the way, but hello, you got a license for that broadsword, mate? Thought not. Yeah, we're going to be stuck with this damn default dagger until we can find a spear somewhere. We kill Balthier and Fran, suffer through the gambits tutorial, and then remove them from the party. We unlock our first of 3 quickening skills, which are basically this game's limit breaks, find more weapons that we can't use, spend 3 minutes killing guest member Amalia because she won't stop healing herself, and it's time for our first boss encounter, 4 Flans. As you can see from our health bar, these guys are absolutely battering us. Individually, they're not very strong, but together they can deal massive damage. We keep moving and try to force at least one Flan to get stuck behind the others, rendering it useless. We keep using our quickening skill, Red Spiral, pretty much as soon as it's available. Eventually we get down to the final Flan, and from there the fight is a joke. Job done. We're awarded with a silken shirt, which we don't have the license to equip. Jesus Christ, you need a license for everything. It's like trying to watch live TV in the UK. We take out Amalia again, and it's time for another boss round. This time it's Fireman. Basic attacks are barely scratching this thing, so we launch into a 4-chain quickening, which is more than enough to trigger an Inferno concurrence. I'll leave some screenshots here to the maths behind how much damage these quickenings do, but the short version is that it's very random, but heavily influenced by the user's strength stat, and obviously the longer the chain, the better. Firemain falls and we're captured and sent to Nalbina Dungeon. There's a part here in which you're forced to fight a trio of Sikhs alongside Balthier, and you're not allowed to remove him from the party. There's no time to kill Balthier either. Does this mean that this solo run is a fail already? Well, thankfully not. We only have a split second to act before anyone else targets anyone, which is just enough time to complete a 4-chain quickening into an AoE Inferno, one-shotting all the enemies. Whew, that was close. We keep Balthier and Fran dead for this next part, which I'd say was the first big challenge of the run. You're supposed to avoid as many guards as you can, but where's the fun in that? We maximise quickening usage and charge it up again by running back and forth whenever there's downtime. We're soon in Barheim Passage. Oh my god. This place was absolutely devastating. Let's discuss why. Battery mimic enemies are scattered throughout this place, and if you can't kill them fast enough, you know, maybe because you're a lunatic who's playing with one character instead of 4, while not using any magic and still haven't found any better equipment than the starting gear, then the mimics will drain the power and cause zombies and evil spirits to spawn in everywhere. To make matters worse, each one of these battery mimics is an absolute tank with a boatload of health who can deal massive damage, so a strong quickening chain is needed for every single one. Needless to say, we had to backtrack to the save crystal dozens of times. If I told you we were stuck here for anything less than 4 hours, I'd be lying to you. Screw this place. Let's try the boss so we can get out of here. Here's our setup going in. We're level 14 and we still have the default starting gear since we haven't found anything better yet that we can equip. For our accessory we have the Archades armlet, which is given to the player during the hunt tutorial, slightly boosting our HP, defense and magic resist. Nothing much to see on the license board yet, so let's rock. We kick things off with a quickening, but the chain falls flat as we get super unlucky with the shuffles. She still loses almost half of her health bar though, so RNG was definitely on our side there. The problem is that we just don't have the healing to sustain a long fight. We're out of options, so we just die. On our next attempt, we start strong again, but this time we try going for the tiny batteries instead. This time her healing is just insane, and it's obvious we're not doing anywhere near enough damage, and again we just die. Looks like it's time to grind some more. We do manage to grab a bronze armor here, which boosts our defense and strength. Nice, nice. Feeling confident, we go back into the boss arena and get slaughtered again. On our 4th attempt, we get super unlucky as the opening quickening chain does pitiful damage, so we just quit out. Finally, on attempt number 5, we kick things off with this quickening chain. Only 3 quickenings long, but it's enough to summon a torrent, dishing out over 10,000 damage, which one-shots the boss from full health. Now that's what I call massive damage. We're now stuck in the middle of the bloody desert, but it's kind of refreshing fighting these weak enemies for easy license points. After Basch joins the party, it's time to grab the sight and grass, the invisible bow that is by far the most overpowered weapon in the game. Haha, this game is gonna be easy, I'm thinking to myself, but we can't get on the bloody airship to obtain it. Paying the 200 gil for the flight to Nalbina would break our rule for not purchasing anything, so this run just got a whole lot harder. No sight and graph for us. We take out the Thextera hunt with a mist chain combo, and it's finally time to use all of those Phoenix downs that we banked earlier. For anyone unaware, there's a special enemy called a Dustier here, which can be one-shot killed with a Phoenix down, but it only spawns if the player is below 10% HP. If you're quick enough and leave the area before his XP is displayed on screen, he can be killed infinitely, as shown. I've seen other YouTube videos of people using this method to get to super high levels, but to be honest, the XP wasn't even that good and it was kind of boring and faffy. We just grab a few levels and leave it. At this point, we're mostly farming license board points by running around the Dalmasca Estasan one-shotting noob enemies, which helps pay for massive HP upgrades. Nice! We kill the Wraith Hunt, and here's a quick update of our stats before we continue with the story. We're level 23 and our license board is looking nice. We've tried to avoid extra gambit slots since most of the gambits in this game are only purchasable in shops, and therefore we won't have access to them. Instead, we've prioritised HP and getting the quickenings unlocked. Sadly, we still have the default equipment, but the battle harness offering a counter chance can be really helpful. We arrive in Bougerba, meet Lamont. Jesus Christ, what is that name? Remember to turn his gambits off so we can kill him easier and head on into the Lhusu Mines. Enemies here are quite a bit tougher than what we've faced so far. Because we've had the same equipment since level 1, it's taking half a dozen strikes just to take down a single bat, and that's when they're not constantly parrying. The first aid technique is coming in really handy though. These skeleton enemies are great for farming XP, but we're taking forever to kill them. We really need a better weapon. After escaping Bagamnon and his goons, we begin to shout these meme-worthy words.
I'm Captain Basch von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca. Basch lives! Don't listen to Ondor's lies. I'm Captain Basch.
And sit through more cutscenes. The Nidhogg hunt is easy thanks to another nice quickening chain, and we're soon on board the Leviathan with Vossler. We're not dealing a lot of damage here, but neither are the enemies, especially after we grab a set of iron armour from a chest in a sneaky corner of a corridor. Eventually though, we start getting seriously outnumbered, so the only option is to run up and down the corridor to generate mischarge and then launch a quickening combo to wipe out as many as we can. Rinse and repeat. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest assets to this entire run. Infuse. This technique is amazing as it sets Vaan's HP to 10 times his current MP, so it's almost a full heal. Its only drawback is that it uses up all of your MP, but since we're not allowed to use any magic, we don't need MP anyway. This is absolutely game changing. The mini-boss mob here is tough until they taste the power of the balance moat. Ashe joins, Vossler leaves, Penelo joins, and we gain the latest in a series of MacGuffin plot items. I mean, come on, I love this game to death, but manufactured nethicite? They're literally just making words up and trying to make it sound important. A simple 5-chain quickening with Torrent is enough to finish off Judge Geese, and we are out of there. Our next objective is the Tomb of Wraithwall, far to the west. Since we can't inflict any damage on Vossler, we get him to commit, to defeat himself. Yeah, gotta keep this YouTube friendly. In an optional side quest, we use items to take down the Uratan Eater and grab some Exia berries, which are super powerful against the upcoming boss. We won't be needing them though, because, you guessed it, the thing dies to a single quickening chain. Look, I promise this run won't be full of bosses being one-shot by quickenings, because quickenings become much less impactful the further you go into the game. By the end game, they're pretty much useless, but it was definitely a good idea to buy them on the license board early for some easy early game bosses. This demon wall, for example, only loses about a third of its health to a quickening chain, and we're hitting for 0 damage, so we're forced to flee before it crushes us to death. On the other side of the door is another demon wall though. The technique is to extinguish the flames to temporarily prevent its movement, which is a pretty clever gameplay mechanic and something unique to this boss. I kinda wish they had more bosses in this game that involved interacting with things in the environment. This was probably the toughest boss so far. I'll shut up for a minute and let things play out. push further into the tomb, and as you can see from these bats, our damage output is pathetic. We're still desperate for a better weapon, anything except the starting dagger, please. Soon we're thrown into the Belias boss fight, who is the first Esper or summon in this game. The fight is brutally tough, with the majority of our time spent running around the edge of the arena in a desperate attempt to either use first aid or ether items, which partially restore our mischarge for more quickenings. I have no idea how we did it, but somehow we take him out. With Belias gone, we now have access to a second license board job, so again we go with Reddit's decision and choose Monk. After a quick browse at what's on offer here, we unlock access to the Cypress pole that we picked up earlier. It's not great, but it's just strong enough to give us the edge we need to take out Vossler. After escaping the Final Fantasy version of Hiroshima, we find out a bit more about the main character Vaan. You know, his motives, his reason for being in this game, like what he's looking for.
Me? What am I looking for? I guess... Well, you know...
I'm just kidding. I know the community likes to hate on Vaan for being a bit of a tag-along in this game, but I think it's actually kind of refreshing playing a game where you're the underdog, someone unimportant dragged into a much larger conflict with people much more powerful than you. Compared to most JRPGs where you're the most overpowered character ever, this is kind of a breath of fresh air. Though it's kind of frustrating that he can't even kill a frickin' crocodile. Ugh. We head back to the Lhusu Mines for some farming, and the power level of this new weapon is instantly obvious. We are one-shotting pretty much every enemy here, which makes for super fast XP and LP. After the events of Jahara and Eriud village, we're at level 41. I like how party members who don't engage in combat receive 0 XP. It proves we're not cheating because they're all the same level as when they first joined. We need a chocobo to reach the Haina Mines, and obviously we're not allowed to hire one as per the rules. However, there's an Imperial soldier here who will temporarily grant us access to one in exchange for just a single potion. Nice! Inside the mines, enemies are a reasonable power level, taking about 3 hits each to take down. We also grab the Bone Crusher technique, but won't be using it in this run. In fact, on the screen I'll put the full list of techniques available in this game, what they do, and whether or not they're worth using in this run. Honestly, most of them are either far too situational or just downright terrible. I wish they'd buff them up a bit more in the Zodiac Age remaster, just to make them feel more relevant and less like a novelty. Oh god, I'm rambling again. Here's our setup going into the Tiamat boss fight. We're level 43 armed with a musk stick that we picked up from the Ogiyensa Sansei. Our license boards are also looking quite full. Let's do this. The fight begins and we cheekily try to steal from Tiamat while he fails to land Disableger. A good technique here is to keep spinning the boss. It seems to make him take much longer to attack you. Just don't use this technique in Final Fantasy XIV though, because your DPS teammates will forever hate your guts. After a rubbish 3-chain quickening, we go on the offensive. Tiamat does eventually land some nasty status ailments on us, such as Petrify, which turns us to stone and therefore instantly kills us when the timer reaches 0. Luckily we have a gold needle to cure it at the very last second. Damn, that was close. As the fight drags on, things become seriously tough, so we try to repeat the technique we used against Belias. Run around the edges of the arena while desperately trying to restore HP and mischarge with items. This buys us just enough time to start another quickening chain, and with a healthy dose of good luck and heavy button mashing, we launch a 9-chain combo into a wind burst for massive damage, finishing him off. Woohoo! That was definitely the most exciting fight so far. The next main story boss is Elder Wyrm, who is very similar to Tiamat, yet is much more difficult for 3 reasons. Firstly, he has around 45% more health than Tiamat, he can inflict way more status ailments, and is joined by 2 Treant enemies. Needless to say, our quickening chain barely touches him, and we're soon shot down by a fireball. We need to get much more powerful before we can get past this guy. Time for some side content. We complete the Wyvern Lord hunt and upgrade to the Iron Pole, which is a serious damage upgrade. After going back to finish the Crocodile, we farm these Zagnal enemies in the Osman Plain for huge amounts of XP, especially with the embroidered tippet accessory which doubles XP gain. At level 52 we're back for another attempt. For our accessory, it's a tough decision, but the Tourmaline ring seems like a strong choice for the poison and sap immunity. Let's do this. Just like with Tiamat, we try for some cheeky steals before being silenced. That's fine though, because silence doesn't affect us in this run, since we're not allowed to use magic anyway. It's only slightly annoying because it makes us flash purple. We launch a decent 5-chain quickening combo into a torrent which barely touches the boss. Remember back when quickenings were one-shotting the bosses and I said it wouldn't last long? Yeah, the bosses are much tougher now. We quickly take out the tree ants with auto basic attacks, and from there it's just a battle of attrition. I'll let things play out. That's another boss down, and we now have access to a much larger portion of Ivalice. Passing through the Paramina Rift, the enemies and items here are decent, but there's not much worth farming. We finally arrive at Mount Baromesis, grab some shielded armour which gives us big bonuses to our defense and strength, and have a hellish battle against a bunch of dragon Avises. Avises? Avi? Avises? What is the plural of Avis? Wait, hang on. Well, apart from being some Swiss healthcare company, apparently Avis is already the plural of Avum. I love how the image results are just a mix of investment company logos and these weird dragon things. It's such a weird mix. Anyway, the enemies here are pretty tough, and to make matters worse, we're picking up loads of weapons, but we can't equip any of them. Ugh! We then push through this door, only to find ourselves in a boss encounter that I'd completely forgotten about. Vinaskar. Thankfully it's not too scary though, and it goes down to a single quickening chain. Nice! The battle against the second Esper, Mateus, begins, and we go for a cheeky steal, but it misses and we go for our first missed attack. We get a rubbish chain, but it takes off a third of her health. Nice! After using some ethers and very luckily hitting a rejuvenation trap, we're at full mischarge again and launch another quickening. Things are looking pretty dire, so we use an elixir to fully restore HP and MP, and launch a third quickening. It's a 5-chain with an Inferno hitting for 11,784 damage, finishing her off. Job done. With that we obtain the latest MacGuffin, Sword of Kings. We could equip this because it deals more damage than our current pole, but we'd lose out on the 30 evasion. It's a tough decision, but I think we'll stick to what we've already got. Mateus' license board node bridges the gap to 2 new nodes, both of which increase our max MP. This will be great for the infuse technique. The battle with Judge Bergen at Mount Baromesis is nothing special, but I'll let it play out here just for the sake of completion. We're level 57 now and heading north. After murdering an innocent bunny who doesn't even attack you and just constantly tries to run away, we complete a boatload more hunts. Only the ringworm poses any significant challenge, and it's just way too tanky for us at this point. We try fighting King Bomb at the Salika Wood to gain access to the optional areas, but it just destroys us. Instead, we get the moogles to finish the door so we can go on our merry way. The Phon Coast is one of my favourite areas in this game. It's absolutely beautiful, and the wide open areas give a genuine sense of exploration and wonder. It's clear that they took inspiration from this area to create Costa del Sol in Final Fantasy XIV. The Hunt Club don't want to deal with us yet. These guys are the only plausible way that we'll be able to obtain the Zodiac Spear in this run, which is the next best weapon in the game for us, but it will involve killing dozens and dozens of special enemies. Therefore, we won't be using their services. It's just not time efficient at all. Next, we pick up a load of free stuff on a beach. In the original Final Fantasy XII, there were penalties for picking these up, as it would lock out access to better treasures further in the game, but here in the Zodiac Age we can indulge ourselves without any consequences. Nice! Here in the uplands the Marlboros are tough, but we soon grab ourselves a set of diamond armour, which we soon equip. Look at these juicy stat bonuses, nice! The Mandragora's boss fight takes about 15 minutes and is a nice challenge, but honestly they're just annoying more than anything. We send them off to heaven, and after beating an Ahriman, we take the conveniently placed lift up to Old Archades to grab the teleport crystal there. Before we head in though, let's backtrack for a bit. We farm treasure chests in the Sundered Earth portion of Tachita Uplands for a Mirror Mill, which grants Reflect, a Diamond Helm, which grants more big stat bonuses, and after about an hour of farming we get the prize we actually came for, the Zephyr Pole, a fantastic weapon that does almost double the power of our old one. Nice! I mean, look at this, it's one or two shotting every single enemy. You could say it's dealing massive damage. Okay, time to head to Old Archades. We need to pass through this area to reach the main city, but we're blocked by two guards. Now, you're supposed to pay Jules 1500 gil to progress, but we haven't spent a single gil so far, and I'd like to keep it that way. So we try exploring around the town some more, and even try getting out of bounds somehow, but it seems like there's nothing. Google isn't much help, and the official wiki says Vaan has no choice but to pay him. So we reach out to the Final Fantasy XII speedrunning community on their Discord server, but we get told by multiple people that it's not possible and there's no known way of skipping this transaction. Well, looks like we're paying up. Jules is not a shop and we're not actually buying anything from him, therefore I don't think we've broken any of our rules, but you can be the judge. Still would have been nice to complete the game without using any gil whatsoever. We reach Archades itself and Vaan reminds us why he's even in this game.
Hey, I'm just along for the ride.
Jules wants more money from us, and after another quick Google search, it's obvious we can't skip this transaction either, so we begrudgingly pay up again. We then spend a quarter of an hour doing what could generously be described as a mini-game in which you pair up people who have problems to people who have the solution, in exchange for pinewood chops, whatever the hell they are. We trade them all in for a sandalwood chop for the sake of completion, just in case it's needed later. We then take the taxi to the Draculaur laboratories, but we're just getting battered, so we load up our earlier save file and get back to grinding. We have a close call with the Marilith hunt, gain a pet cactuar, and gain access back into the dreaded Barheim Passage. You know, the place we got stuck for hours early in the game. On a positive note, I really like all of these obscure side quests in Final Fantasy XII. There's no quest markers or reminders or anything, so it really rewards exploration and makes the world feel truly alive. A cynical man might tell you that they were just included to sell more PS2 strategy guides, but I am not one of those people. Maybe not anyway. We return to King Bomb, who now goes down like a lead balloon. Ha lead balloon. Cracked myself up. After an easy Brer hunt, Brer, I have no idea, we complete the weird floating ivy puzzle in the Morthos High Waste and try to fight the optional Esper Exodus. Surprisingly, we get him to like half health and then he's just like, nope, and it's GG. We instead turn our attention to another optional Esper, a Dramalek. The first two attempts end horribly, but the third attempt is successful, which unlocks another node to the license board. Nice! After a couple of hunts in the sewers, we grab the sluice gate key. This leads us to another optional Esper, Cuchulainn, who Google helped me to pronounce. It's an incredibly tough fight though, with our health being passively drained at a rapid rate for the entire fight, so we just die. The last optional Esper we try is Zalera, deep in the Barheim Passage. On the first attempt we go in blind, only to get battered around and one-shot by its insta-kill skill, which is aptly named Kill. Well, I suppose it does what it says on the tin. We try again at level 77. We choose this number specifically since it's not a multiple of 2, 3, 4 or 5, nor is it a prime number, meaning we're immune to the vast majority of Zalera's attacks. Still, after it enrages, we're taken down with another kill. We're going to leave this boss for now, but it does seem winnable, so we will be back. After grabbing the diamond armlet, which will be essential for some late game treasures, we take out the trickster hunt and equip the dragon whisker that we grabbed from deep in the Lhusu Mines. It has a whopping 100 attack power and a chance to disable enemies, which is absolutely game changing. With this newfound power, we're just about strong enough to stealthily push even further into the dangerous depths of the Lhusu Mines, allowing us to grab the even better Whale Whisker weapon, as well as the Maximilian armor. We also grab the nearby Mage Power Shishak helmet and get the hell out of there. The enemies are way too strong to be hanging around. We now have some strong late game gear and can easily take down that ringworm who was giving us trouble not long ago. The nearby Earth Tyrant also falls without any issues. Darksteel is next to go down, and honestly this Sock and Cave Palace just before Old Archades feels like the best place to grind right now. Time to continue the story. Here's our setup going into the Draculaur laboratories a second time. We're level 81 and have pretty much completed both license boards. Let's do this! The difference is absolutely night and day, as we're easily one-shotting every enemy in the dungeon. I really like these tiny rooms with good treasures like moats that respawn every time you exit and re-enter the room, so we take full advantage of these by stocking up. We also grab the Technic Guild Toss, but we won't be using it because we have a really strong weapon now, and it's kinda meh. We push on into the Dr. Sid fight. I'll be honest and say I was hoping for some massive spectacle fight that was super close and we could analyse it and discuss it, but after his defensive rooks go down, he's pretty weak. He's down in just a couple of minutes. With that done, we unlock the last city in the game, the port of Balfonheim, which is absolutely gorgeous and also grants us access to new hunts such as Viral in the neighbouring Sorobi steppe. The enemies here are comfortably difficult, yet reward fantastic XP, and like the Phon Coast, it's a really open area, so it feels awesome to explore. What doesn't feel awesome though is trying to get the Grand Helm and Grand Armor from this area, which are the best armors in the game that we really need access to. Okay, next to this tree, there is a 10% chance that a treasure chest will spawn. If it does spawn, there's an 80% chance that it will just have Gil inside of it, which is useless. If then it actually has an item, not Gil, there's a 5% chance that it'll be the Grand Helm. It only takes a quick bit of maths to work out that every time we leave and re-enter this area, we only have a 1 in 1,000 chance of the helm being here. To make matters worse, this rock in the adjacent area has the exact same problem with the Grand Armor. I'll be honest, I spent 8 hours farming here with absolutely nothing to show for it until we finally got the helm. Getting the armor too would just be a pain in the neck, so we leave it for now. But while farming, we were lucky enough to grab a Baltoro seed. Wait, what? What the hell is that? It's not a loot or a key item or anything. Oh, hang on, wait, it's a consumable item? Grants question mark to one ally. Okay, don't worry, we'll be trying that out later. The Rafflesia boss in the Fairwood dies without any effort at all, and at level 91 we're back to fight Zalera again. You remember the Esper who uses the insta-kill move named Kill on us? Well, we hope to be able to kill him slash her slash it slash them before they can get to that point. Some strong attacks and a quickening chain drop it to like 40% HP, but it's readying up Kill right now. What can we do? Hey, let's check out that Baltoro seed we picked up earlier. Whoa, holy Jesus, that's a lot of stat buffs. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have Shell active, Kill's chance of actually killing us has dropped to 50%. Nice! Zalera is annoyed and goes for a second kill, which also does nothing. Oh wow, luck is really on our side here. It then goes for a prime level death, but some of us paid attention to maths lessons back in school, so we are not a prime number. After it fails to land a level 5 reverse, we finish it off. I'm calling it now, that was the most interesting boss in the entire game. It required research, plenty of setup, a bit of skill and a healthy dose of luck. Everything we like to see in our boss fights here at RPG Challenge Runs. Back to the main story, we push on through the Feywood and are forced to summon Belias to open a gate to progress the story. There's no way to get around this, and Belias is not involved in any combat, so I'm going to say that this doesn't break our no summons rule, but whatever, you decide. We're inside Giravegan now, and the Guardian at the entrance is a complete joke. What isn't a joke, however, is this Tyrant boss who's really quick and packs a punch. Technics are also blocked for this fight for some reason. Our first attempt is a failure, but our second attempt goes much better, partially thanks to a nice quickening chain. We hit level 94 while pushing through the Great Crystal, although it's a good idea to avoid as many enemies as you can here because some of them inflict really nasty status ailments. The subsequent Esper boss, Shemzai, proves to be the easiest so far, so not much to say about this one, but its node on the Moogle license board forms a bridge to gain access to Potion Law 3, making all of our potion items much more potent. Nice! After some cutscenes, we grab the latest in a long series of plot items, the Treaty Blade. Redis joins the party as a guest, so that's another one we'll need to be repeatedly killing off, and we get ready to fly off to the Ridorana Cataract by private airship. It's times like this that you begin to appreciate just how massive and expansive the world of Final Fantasy XII really is. It's absolutely awesome. Thankfully, Redis can be taken out in a single hit. We push through Yasmat's arena and finally reach a save crystal. Wait, what? Did the devs really put a trap right in front of the save crystal? Oh, we come back with Libra on, and yep, not only did they leave a trap, they left a column of 6 consecutive traps, knowing that you'd walk along that optimal path to the save crystal. That's just evil, Square Enix, just pure evil. The next boss, Hydro, is mostly quite easy, but hits us with disease and other nasty status ailments at the very end, which we can't currently cleanse. Thankfully, we can just make it back to the save crystal for restoration before it kills us. Whew! After we save the game, we're spawned on top of a trap. Thanks, game. And it's time to start climbing the 100 floor lighthouse. Okay, this might be really controversial, but I'm going to be honest. Nothing about this place is fun. It's a slow grind with some awkward puzzle mechanics in bland, dark brick rooms. Blech. After killing Pandemonium, we start hitting illusory walls Dark Souls style and keep making trips up and down the tower to cleanse ourselves every time we're inflicted with doom, which is surprisingly often. We grab Holy, an awesome magic spell that we're sadly not allowed to use, get wiped out by the second boss Slight, I don't know, only to take revenge with the help of a quickening chain, lose access to magics, big wow, wipe out the third boss Fenrir, grab the Ultima Blade, which is similar to what we already have so we won't be switching to it, and begin to fight the Esper Hashmal. The first attempt isn't really a fair fight since we were already petrified before even entering the boss room, so it's a loss. Disease then results in a second loss. We slow down a bit for the third attempt, cleansing negative status ailments as they pop up and gradually beat him down. That's our 6th Esper in the bag. On one license board it bridges to something we already have, so we just unlock it on the other license board instead. But it's just magics we can't use. Damn, I was really hoping for another node that would actually help us in some way. We reach the apex of the tower, and against Gabranth we're dealing massive damage, so he's dead in under a minute. We then fight Dr. Sid again, who is easy during his first phase, but things become more tricky when his Esper Famfrit is introduced. We prioritised taking out Famfrit with the help of a bubble moat to double our max HP and a domain Calvados for bravery, which increases our physical damage output by 30%. Needless to say, it soon falls and Dr. Sid isn't far behind. Damn, that was a serious boss rush. But thankfully we're done with this bloody tower and have reached the end game. Famfrit's license board node offers nothing new or useful, so we just start farming for items at the base of the Ridorana Cataract in preparation to fight the final boss. This spot at the start is great for farming X potions, while this spot near the end is great for remedies. We hit level 99 and here is our final setup. Both license boards are maxed out and we have almost the best gear in the game. We're using the ruby ring to reflect low level spells, but we'll switch it up as necessary. Let's do this! After a bit of Star Wars dogfighting, we push through the noob mobs aboard the Bahamut and fight boss number 1, Gabranth. He hits hard, but by circling around the boundary of the arena and spamming X potions, he soon falls. A tough yet simple fight. Vane's first phase is, as always, a complete joke. We're joined by Larsa, but he's not a party member or guest and he can't be removed and he doesn't really do anything, so this isn't a violation of any rules. Vane is down in just a couple of minutes. Against Vane Novus with Gabranth, we initially start attacking the swords, but it just feels like a pointless game of piggy in the middle, so we instead turn our attention to Vane himself. Even with his defensive swords up, we're hitting him hard. We even get a cheeky 4-chain attack in for massive damage, and quickly finish him off after only a few minutes. Now it's time to head outside for the true final boss. The fight starts off well, but the Undying can grant himself immunity to magic and physical damage whenever he feels like it, which lasts quite a long time. To make matters worse, this boss doesn't have a health bar, so we have no idea how far into the fight we really are. As the fight goes on, things get really tense and eventually we completely run out of healing items. I'll let things play out. That's right, thanks to those 2 reverse motes that we got from God knows where, we were able to turn Vane's damage into healing, allowing us to live long enough for his invulnerabilities to drop off and take him down. Can you beat Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age solo, with no magic and without buying anything? Hell yeah. That was another really interesting run, and we beat the game in under 47 hours, which is a hell of a lot faster than the Persona runs we've been doing. As always, a genuine thanks for your time and support. We now have a Discord server and a Patreon link down in the video description if you fancy helping out or sending in your own suggestions for future runs. That's all from me, Belias, for today though. See you later everyone. Cheers. The Marlboroughs here in the Tichita, I don't know how you say that, are tough. The Marlboroughs here in the Tichita upland, Tichita upland, whatever.
Senpai, you should like and subscribe.